A death where there was no witness, no weapon, and not a single clear answer, only questions upon questions. A 19-year-old went to a Labor Day party and never came back home. 2 hours vanished with no explanation, but the story does not end there. In between, there are 2 hours that are completely missing. No one knows what happened during those moments. When his body was found, the scene became even more horrifying. His body showed severe smashing injuries, but astonishingly, there were no signs of a car collision, no weapon, and no clear cause of death. Despite all of this, authorities sum up his death in just one word: undetermined. This story is not just strange, it is heart-wrenching, because the more you piece together the evidence, it becomes increasingly difficult to believe that this was just an accident. So, let us learn the harsh truths behind this mysterious death. On a quiet stretch of US Highway 81 in southern Oklahoma, a driver was moving slowly in the early morning of Labor Day, 2023. The road was empty, silent, and still. Something on the shoulder caught his eye. At first, he thought it was a deer, but as he came closer, he realized it wasn't. It was a person. 19-year-old Noah Presgrove lay there motionless. He was completely naked except for two mismatched shoes, one Adidas, one Hey Dude. The image was haunting. The driver stared, unable to look away. He knew instantly that Noah was dead. The sight would haunt him forever. Noah had been just a boy from Comanche, Oklahoma, a small town where everyone knew each other. Friends and neighbors remembered him as loyal, funny, and full of life. He had just finished high school and was trying to figure out his next steps: college, work, maybe a trade. He loved his family. He loved the outdoors. He loved being with his friends. Labor Day weekend was supposed to be one last big summer night, a party to celebrate the end of summer. No one could know it would be his last night alive. The town was shocked. Whispers spread quickly. How did this happen? Why was he naked? Who could have done this? People guessed, some cruelly, some wildly. The truth stayed buried, hidden somewhere along that stretch of highway. Highway 81 remained silent, as if keeping its secrets locked away. Noah's story became more than just a death. It became a shadow over Comanche, a question that refused to go away. And still, some nights, people said they could see him in their minds, smiling, alive, full of life. The highway waited, and it waited for answers that may never come. The party that weekend was out near Terrell, Oklahoma, not far from the Texas border. It was loud, wild, a place where the music thumped so hard it rattled your chest, and ATVs tore across the open land like restless beasts. People drank, laughed, shouted over the noise. For a while, everything seemed bright, almost careless. Noah was there. He was smiling, laughing, riding four-wheelers with friends, the wind whipping at his face. Everyone saw him having fun, but as the night stretched on, the energy began to shift. Something dark slipped into the edges of the celebration, something that made the air feel heavier, even though the music was still loud. At some point, Noah was in an ATV crash, a rollover, a sudden, violent tumble that could have ended everything. Miraculously, he survived. He got up, walked away. He even returned to the party, limping maybe, but still holding on to that smile. The autopsy later confirmed it. Minor injuries, nothing life-threatening. After the crash, witnesses say he argued with someone. Nobody knows what about. The words, the anger, they vanished into the night. And then, around 3:30 a.m., Noah walked away from the party. Just walked. Some thought he was cooling off. Others assumed he was heading home. 2 hours later, around 5:43 a.m., two motorists were driving south on US Highway 81. Their headlights caught something on the shoulder of the road, something that didn't belong there. They stopped and called 911. When the officers arrived, they found Noah. His body was lying face down on the side of the highway. There were no clothes on him, just two mismatched shoes. His shorts were nearby, crumpled in the dirt. His necklace was broken. His phone was gone. The scene didn't make sense. Police first thought it might be a hit and run. Months later, the autopsy report came out. It was grim. Noah had died from multiple blunt force injuries. His head, neck, chest, arms, and legs were all battered. His skull had fractures. His ribs were broken. Inside, his brain was swollen. His organs bruised. Toxicology found alcohol. Nothing illegal. Just enough to dull the edges of the night, maybe. The cause of death was clear. Multiple blunt force injuries. But the manner of death? Undetermined. No one knew why. Was it a fall, a fight, an accident, or something else? Something darker? The report gave no answers, only questions that kept twisting tighter and tighter. Noah's story ended in silence on the side of that highway. But the night that swallowed him left a question that refused to let go. How had a man who survived a crash, argued with someone, and walked away alive, ended up like this? And the truth, if it even exists, was still waiting somewhere in the shadows. In southern Oklahoma, Noah's death became more than just a mystery. It became a symbol of justice delayed. People in the community wanted answers. Supporters created the hashtag Justice for Noah. Candlelight vigils were held, so billboards went up along highways. One banner, stretched near Highway 81, read, "You know what happened to me, so why don't you help?" The words were simple, but powerful. Someone, somewhere, had to know the truth. Speculation filled the gaps left by silence. 3 major theories emerged, but none fully explained what happened. Some thought it was a hit and run. Maybe Noah had wandered into the road disoriented or drunk, and a car struck him. But there were no tire marks, no debris. Odd, no evidence of a vehicle. Others wondered if it was an accident, a fall, or an ATV crash. But then, why was he naked? Why did he have mismatched shoes? The third theory was darker. The family believed Noah had been attacked at the party, and his body was moved to the highway to make it look like an accident. Each scenario answered a few questions, but left even more unanswered. 2 details haunted the family and the investigators alike: the broken necklace and the mismatched shoes. The necklace had been torn off, lying near Noah's body as if during a struggle. His shoes were filled with grass and dirt, suggesting he had walked or been dragged across rough ground. Investigators never said whether the items were tested for DNA. To Noah's family, they were not random. They were clues, pieces of a puzzle that might reveal what really happened in those missing hours. And even now, years later, the questions remain. Who did this? Why? And will the truth ever come out? The highway keeps its silence, and the mystery waits, dark and unresolved, for someone brave enough to solve it. Noah's family filed a civil lawsuit accusing the defendants of negligence, conspiracy, and destruction of evidence. The lawsuit also used Oklahoma's dram shop law to hold the convenience store responsible for selling alcohol to minors. The defendants' lawyers filed motions to dismiss, saying there was no concrete proof that Noah had been assaulted. As of late 2025, notice the case is still in court. Discovery could force witnesses to testify under oath. Noah's family hopes this will finally reveal the truth. Even without a resolution, the lawsuit has reignited public pressure on state investigators to revisit the case. Major news outlets, including People Magazine, News Nation, and KSWO, have covered the story. Every time, the same questions resurface. Why hasn't anyone been arrested? Why was the manner of death left undetermined? And what really happened in those final hours? The Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation says the case is still open, but open does not mean active, and that frustrates everyone who cares about Noah. Noah's story also highlights a larger problem in America. More and more deaths are being ruled undetermined. When there is not enough evidence to classify a death as an accident, homicide, or suicide, it ends up in a gray area. Families are left without answers. Cases can sit for years. Investigators have no suspect. Families have no peace. The Presgroves are determined not to let that happen with Noah. They continue to fight for truth, for justice, and for answers that may never come easily. As of now, more than 2 years after Noah's death, the official cause of death remains multiple blunt force injuries. The manner of death is still undetermined. No one has been charged, yet hope has not faded. Each year, on the anniversary of his passing, family and friends gather on Highway 81, near the spot where he was found. They bring flowers, photos, and prayers. The site has become both a memorial and a message. It says we have not given up, and we will not stop looking for answers. When asked what justice means, Noah's mother said simply, "It means the truth. I just want the truth." The Presgroves believe someone at that party knows exactly what happened, and that silence has lasted far too long. They want anyone with information, no matter how small, to come forward. Because sometimes one voice is enough to break years of secrecy. 19 years old, 2 mismatched shoes. A 2-hour gap that no one can explain. Noah Presgrove's story is more than a mystery. It is a reminder of how fragile justice can be when the truth hides behind fear and silence. Every person at that Labor Day party remembers something. Someone knows why Noah left. Someone knows what happened on Highway 81. Until they speak, his family will keep fighting, because mysteries do not stay cold forever. Eventually someone breaks, and when that day comes, the truth about what happened to Noah Presgrove will finally be known. So, friends, if you found this video informative, we humbly request that you subscribe to our channel. We will continue to bring you educational and mysterious stories. Thank you for liking our content.